Good morning, my friends. Welcome to our New Testament challenge. Today I'm going to be sharing with you some thoughts and reflections on the 5th chapter of the Gospel of John, John chapter 5. As we have discovered, John's focus is a little different from the other Gospels. Not bad, not better, but different. And in the 5th chapter, we focus really on Jesus' authority as the Son of God and Son of Man. And what does that mean for him? And I think really it's kind of explaining why he ought to be revered, ought to be followed, ought to be listened to. Well, you'll see. The first section here talks about Jesus heals on the Sabbath. And so he was in Jerusalem, and now he said that by the gate called the Sheep Gate, there was a pool called in Hebrew Bethsaida, although some say Bethesda and others say Bethsaida. It had 5 porticos, and in it laid many who were sick or invalid, blind, lame, paralyzed. And the reason why, the tradition was that periodically the Spirit of God would come down to the water and would stir the waters, and anybody who was able to get down to the water, or the first one who could get to the water, would be healed. And whether that was true or not, we don't know, but this one man had been there 38 years waiting, and because he was lame, he could not get to the water. And so Jesus came and saw him and said, hey, do you want to be made well? And the guy said, look, I have no one there to put me in the pool when the water stirred up. And while I'm making my way down, there's someone else steps ahead of me. And Jesus tells him, stand up, take your mat, and walk. And the man does that. Now, it'd be great if the story ended there. But, so he's walking, he's taking his mat. Now, one side question, I'm like, where's he going? He's been there 38 years. He probably lived there, probably slept there. People probably, begged, and people brought him food, and, he just, who knows if he had family? We don't know. But he was walking with his mat, and some of the Pharisees saw him and said, hey, don't you know that it is against the law to carry a mat on the Sabbath? And again, we wonder how much he knew about the law. He probably was taught that as a child, but obviously probably never went to temple, never went to the synagogue, never went, to hear the teachings and to learn. But they told him, don't you know it's against law? And he said, who did this? And he says, well, the one who healed me. Who is he? I don't know. So later on, Jesus saw him at the temple and told him, now that you're healed, make sure you don't sin anymore, or something worse will happen to you. He made the correlation between physical healing and spiritual healing. Jesus did a lot of times, and that's important. It's one of John's focus. And the Pharisees got upset. They started persecuting Jesus because he was doing such things on the Sabbath. And Jesus says, my Father's still working, so I'm still working. And that made him even angrier, because when someone says, let me put it this way, not only was he breaking the Sabbath, but he was also comparing himself to God, or saying that he is equal to God when you say God is my Father. So that really ticked him off. Then he spends some time talking about the authority of the Son. The Son can only do what the Father has given him. So here's Jesus and has been sent by God the Father down, and has the authority as the old creeds used to say, he's very, very man and very God. All of God is pleased to dwell in Jesus. So he had that authority. He had that power from the very beginning. And then talk about witnesses. He says, God witnesses, miracles witness. You can search the scripture. It witnesses to me. I can't help if you are looking for signs. The signs are already there. You just need to look. And it's not my issue that you read it, it's there, but you don't accept it. Um, it's been laid out before you. There are all the evidence is there, yet you choose not to accept it. Um, so this whole thing is talking about the authority of Jesus, the conflict, and the decision by the Pharisees and those in authority, those religious rulers, their decision not to see in the Scripture what Jesus said was there. So it isn't, it was their choice not to accept, and that's also a lesson for us. The evidence is there. It's always been there, but people choose not to accept what they see or what they experience, and sometimes uh, they've had a bad experience that shades the evidence, and so they don't, they don't want to see, but sometimes they can't see because they've been hurt so many times. And so our role as the church is to present the evidence, present it in such a way, shine the light on it so that people can truly see God's grace and God's love, and to wipe away all the distractions, to wipe away all the mud and all the sin and everything else that keeps people from seeing it. Hope this has been helpful, my friends. Take care, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.